Okay, so this is the plane. First, you're gonna wanna have a solid look around, make sure everything's looking good. So we walk in. First thing we're gonna wanna do is check out our inspection report here. So we're gonna see flight logs, dock, control locks removed, mags, master, fuel selector, both. Check that, put that on both. Okay. But just for the sake of doing that, flaps full. Okay, logbook's on, control locks removed. Those are our control locks, we're gonna remove those. And mags off. We're gonna double check. We don't have the key in, there's the mags. And master on. So we're gonna turn our master switch right here on. Okay. And the next thing on the list would be flaps. Flaps full. We're gonna check these flaps. Put these flaps full, there's a flaps section. Okay. Next thing on the list would be lights. We're gonna check our lights, turn our lights on, check out them. Beacon landing lights on. Master off. Circuit breakers, check. There's our circuit breakers right there, nothing's popped. Trim, check. There's our trim right there. Actually, that could go down a little bit, but it's looking pretty good. Fire extinguisher, green arc. You can see our fire extinguisher, the green arc right there. Looking good. First aid kit, check. External checks complete. So first thing we do, take a look over here. Basically, I check all the way from the outside. Just gonna give the plane a little, give it a little thing and see if you can see anything. See how the whole plane kind of looks. Just gonna check this aileron flaps. And what we're looking for in here is, pins and bolts in there. We want to make sure those are in good shape. So we're looking for those pins and bolts all along here. And we want to also see inside to make sure the right thing is happening with the yoke. So it is. Okay, then we're gonna come over to this flap. We're gonna check this flap. We're gonna check in here, make sure all this, check in here, make sure all this is looking good. Check these bolts, make sure the washers and bolts are all looking good there. And then we're gonna come around back here. We're gonna check all these panels, make sure all these are looking good. Check the bolt panels there. And then, once I go here, I'm gonna check my door. I'm gonna check my door, make sure all my door is latching good. Then I'm gonna check the tire condition. I'm gonna check the line going for the brakes. I'm gonna check back here, make sure this is in and locked. We're gonna check for those antennas, 2 antennas there. I'm gonna have a look underneath the plane, make sure all that's looking good. Then we're gonna come back here to the tail. We're going to check the bolts and pins in here. Similar thing. Bolts and pins in the horizontal stabilizer. Then we're also gonna check this. And we're gonna have a look inside to make sure the right thing's happening. If you can see it there, you can see it moving. Then we're gonna check down here. This ring, we're gonna make sure that's still there. This could indicate a tail strike. Then we're gonna check these pins, safety lock washers and everything is in the right place. Both sides, we're gonna check all that. We're gonna check underneath the horizontal stabilizer. While we're down here, We're gonna check our trim, make sure everything's looking good on there. All the bolts and stabilized and stuff. We're gonna check that. We're gonna go around to this side and we're gonna check these bolts across here, make sure that's all looking good across that entire inside. So we're gonna give the plane a solid look from here. We're gonna look what we can see from here. We wanna check this all out. Strobe light under there, and check all that stuff. Same thing along this side. Then I'm gonna walk to this. I'm gonna walk to this side. I'm gonna do the same thing. I'm gonna check my plane. Just kind of shake the wing like this. You don't have to do that, but just kind of get a general picture of the plane. Come down here. We're gonna check all this aileron, this side, make sure this one works. Watching that yoke, make sure that's spinning the correct way. We're gonna check this flaps. Gonna check all these panels. Make sure this is right. And we're gonna check all that stuff. Now, once that's checked, I come to this door. Then I'm gonna check this door to make sure everything's working good. Doors possibly working properly and all that stuff. Now I'm gonna come down to this wheel. I'm gonna check the brake line, tire condition, and all that good stuff there. Now I'm gonna come over here to the front, check my windshield condition, make sure all that's looking good. I'm gonna take a look at my oil pressure, my oil condition. So let's just check that. I've been sitting for a minute. There, it's right up, it's right under the 6. So that is looking good. Okay, we're gonna check all around here. We're gonna check the front wheel. Make sure all those fittings and bolts are in there properly. I'm gonna check all these lock washers, everything's looking good, no oil's leaking down here. And we're gonna check our front wheel condition. We're gonna check the condition of this pipe, exhaust pipe, all this. We're gonna look in here, make sure there's no birds, make sure there's nothing going in there. And we're gonna check our blade condition. Almost done here. Gonna check our blade condition, make sure there's no rock chips, and conditions looking good there. And we're gonna come around, and last but not least, we're gonna check this panel on this plane. And we're gonna take a look down there and make sure there's no oil or anything else looking wrong. And it helps to do a good check on the plane.